Today I would like to talk about a research that was published in Nature. And if somebody publishes in the journal Nature, as a scientist you're extra interested because it's one of the most respected journals. And in Nature, a research was published regarding virtual teams. And the question is, are virtual teams as creative as face-to-face teams? This is relevant for hybrid working because we all ask ourselves the question, should we have virtual meetings versus face-to-face meetings? It turns out that if a group of people are in a virtual reality, in a virtual team, that they're less creative than when they're sitting face-to-face. So if you ask people to come up with new ideas, it turns out that they have more ideas when they're in one room and they have less ideas when they are in a Teams or a Zoom meeting. Now, the reason for this is interesting. It's most likely because of hyperfocus. What we do in virtual meetings is that we're completely focused on the other person. We're looking into our cameras. We are focused on the other person and maybe also a little bit on ourselves in a small screen, but we're hyper-focused, and for creativity, strangely enough, we don't need to focus. And as a metaphor, it's not a coincidence that people who think often look up in the sky or often don't look at you when they're thinking, because the subconscious needs to do its work. Yeah, so you don't need to focus on the things you need to do. It's actually the opposite, which is a bit of a paradoxical situation. You do not focus on the things that you're talking about or with this person that you talk with, but you actually focus on the subconscious. That is the reason why when we are in Teams meetings or Zoom meetings, we're less creative. Now, why is this important? Zoom and Teams are very important tools, and I think since the lockdown, we know that we can definitely be more productive, that we can save time, that we can save the environment, that we can save a lot of time, save a lot of unnecessary meetings by just being hyper-focused in our Teams and Zoom meetings. That's all fine. But when we have to be creative, when it becomes more complex, the social interaction is much more important than people maybe think. So Zoom, Teams, great invention for ticking boxes and having quick focus meetings, but when it's really important and it's really regarding creativity, please meet face to face.